That's my 7th grade. I can do another one. I can do my second one because it's also 7th grade. So it's like a very similar time period.
7th grade was a
I know,
rough
big
year
for you. Well, I think 7th grade is when you turn 13. So it's like very on brand for being embarrassed.
Thank God for our capacity to black out. I do the same. I had trouble thinking of embarrassing things because I'm like, I am sure I put them so far. I buried them so deep.
You know what's going to happen tonight? I'm going to like go to bed and all of them are going to like come out in my dreams.
Oh,
they're going to like unearth the subconscious embarrassing moments that I've hid away. They're going to like come out and be like,
that's
ha ha, you're trying to sleep? Not on my watch.
Hello, Julie.
Hi, Helen.
I swear, now I feel like I'm going to school every week. I have to have my assignment done. The pressure. Oh.
I'm nervous that you didn't do the assignment like I requested. But that's fine.
I know. I have to do the assignment. Just so, what did you request? Tell the people.
I said 3 lines because last time
you know how hard that is. I can't even say hello in 3 sentences.
Well, we're working on being concise, and this will help in more than just this aspect.
You know my maiden name. It's like help, right? Does anybody how that connects? Does any Metzler that you know do anything in less than 3 sentences? No,
me.
The policies, yes, but not the Metzlers. Anyway, I did my assignment correctly. I'm so proud of myself. A little pat on the back. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, how was your weekend? How was your Valentine's Day? We didn't even talk about Valentine's Day. Did you enjoy?
We did. We had a nice time.
Good.
Did a lot of fun activities. We did a lot of walking. That was like, we went for like long walks every day. So we walked like 6 or 7 miles a day, I think, which I feel like my feet are feeling.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
I will say your hips and quads and things are going to be in such fit shape. I saw your hips. The hips are what, like the walking thing.
Feel it.
To me, that's where it hits you. Running doesn't really hit you in your hips. Walking
Anytime
does.
we go and what I notice is like long walks where there's no like incline. When there's no incline, that's when you really feel the hip because it's like you're not really getting any like. Anyway, how was your Valentine's Day weekend?
Good. It was nice. It was very nice. It was very chill down here, and we enjoyed it. We actually went to dinner at a restaurant down here for the first time, which we usually do our dinners out in New York. So it was nice to go out down here. It was a nice change of pace, and it was good. And I had, of course, Dad always does things up. Like he had got the flowers for me and he was all about it. So I was like, let me give some thought. And I got him a really nice new pillow for his bed. Like pillows are key. They're the most underrated thing they're the most underrated thing. And yet it impacts us tremendously, our sleep. Yeah. So yeah,
totally.
So I got him a pillow.
Good. All right. Yeah. Well, do you want to, let's start with we'll do a quick joke recap because I want it to be quick.
All right, so, you got it.
You go first, and then you go first, and then
all right, let's go. I'm going to give you my 3-sentence first one. Ready?
I'm timing you.
Get ready. Being a working mom with 3 kids had its challenges. Like I'd have to assess if something was worth taking the time off for a doctor's appointment, or even worse, if it was a day off and something disrupted the fun. So my go-to line when someone complained or got hurt was always, "You're fine, you're fine, you're fine. You're fine." True story, took a day off for Jonathan's birthday, the annual trip to Six Flags. Entering the park in full excitement, Jonathan tripped and hurt his arm. "You're fine." I pulled out a bandana, used it as a Band-Aid, wrapped his arm, and on we went. Let's ride coasters. Yeah. 5 hours later, park madness, so much fun. Turns out his arm was broken.
You're fine.
You're fine.
I remember that one.
That wasn't even funny because it was just true. I don't know how to write jokes anyway.
No, it's good. I think you got to add the feel. You got to like relate it to something else, and you got to.
I know. I need help. So
that was under a minute. So that was progress.
Did I do good? All right. So let me do a second one that's also under a minute.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Okay. This one's maybe not as good, but being raised by a worrier, not a warrior, a worrier, is bound to have an effect on a person. If I so much as climbed the second rung of a jungle gym, my mother would panic. Be careful. And of course, being the firstborn, I listened and became fearful of heights. And I was determined not to pass this on to my own kids. So watching Jonathan climb to the top of a jungle gym with my stomach up in my throat, saying gleefully, "Good job," just as he fell and broke his arm.
I like how both of your bits are about Jonathan breaking his arm. Is that what inspired you from last week when you're fine?
Yes. I was like, oh God, the 2 times I've told the kids they're fine and they're not. But I was also thinking those could work together as a theme anyway, because it was 2 times arm breaking. I don't know. I'm not good at this, Julie, and I'm feeling like a failure. So
You're
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I'm not really. I know. I'm just, it's not my, I
you
try
don't
so hard
have to do this if you don't enjoy it.
I want to learn it. I want to learn, but I feel that I don't know that I'm making progress. So how would I make those into a joke?
You would.
I just don't know.
I mean, you just have to do more, like less explaining and more about jokes about the feeling of like, I don't know. I got to think about that one because right now they're just stories. It's
you know what I know because that's all I have because I don't know how to make it into a joke. Like I think what you should do maybe is take one of these 2 and come back next week and tell me how this would frame how I would frame this as a joke. I almost need an example of how a story gets turned into a joke.
Yeah.
That's what I'm missing. Because I don't know, the first week I felt really inspired. I was able to do it. But then, I mean, your feedback threw me, so I haven't been able to figure out like what I did wrong. No, but I haven't been able to figure out how to do it properly. And I know there's no like right or wrong way to do it because it's everybody's style of storytelling.
Yeah. The storytelling is hard. Because we were listening to a podcast this weekend and, everyone just thinks like these comics get up and they're just telling the story and they're doing nothing else. But it's like there's so much more that goes behind it. Why don't I tell you? So I was a bad student. I didn't really have any jokes. I didn't write any jokes from last week. I know. I'm so bad. So bad.
Okay.
So bad. Well, I was like, I'll do some of the jokes that I'm working on right now. I thought of a line last night because here's what happened. I thought of a line last night that I thought was funny. That was kind of about it, where I was like, Jonathan can't remember. I like how all of our bits are about Jonathan.
Poor Johnny.
It was like, Jonathan can't remember my age or my birthday, but he can remember when I was 3 and I threw up in the back seat. And it's the story he loves to tell everyone the first time he meets them. I'm trying to think because I don't have a joke if I should tell you like a story that I've turned into that has jokes in it, or if I should just tell you the one I'm working on right now. Because did we talk about last week? I can't remember. Did I mention my name change from Julie to Julianne on last week's podcast? Did I ever talk about that? Ugh.
No.
I thought I did because then I got inspired to like write jokes about that. I don't know.
Okay, well, let's talk about that.
Else. Okay, so I wrote, these are the jokes that I have. These are just the ones that I'm working on this week that I really like. So I'm sorry that they're not related to the podcast from last week. I get an F. Teacher's bad.
In typical student fashion, I got the A because I did the assignment.
Well, I was like, don't worry about it. It's fine. I'll just do like a quick little riff on something. And then
typical Helen valedictorian moment. Am I not going to skip the assignment? God forbid.
Okay. I'm just going to run through it real quick.
Okay.
I say, my name is Julie, but I went by Julianne up until college. This wasn't some major decision I made to rebrand in my new chapter. On the first day of college, I showed up in my dorm room. My RA had written Juli, and I went, all right, I'm not questioning an authority figure on day 1. And then I said,
okay, that's funny.
They could have read anything. They could have put anything on that door. They could have put Craig, and I would been like, that's my new name. So that's kind of the bit.
Oh man! But you see how immediately you're funny? Like I don't know how to do that. Just the whole way that you frame that by saying like it's not like it was intentionally a rebrand. Like I don't know. That's just so funny.
Well, because here's how I got there. Because I told someone that story the other day. I said, I used to go. I said, you can tell when someone's known me based on what they call me. If they met me before 18, they call me Julianne. If they met me post 18, they call me Julie. And if they're family, they call me Jewel. And those are the 3 names. And they were like, well, what happened? I was like, I literally got to college and my RA had just written Julie and I didn't bother to correct her. Oh and they were like, that's hilarious. That's like your whole vibe with like your anxiety and this and that. And so that's kind of how it happened, where it's like, okay, I had this story. Now let me think about the reason I didn't. And it helps because, like, they're like, well, what happened? And I was like, well, I didn't want to, like, question an authority figure. And it's like, it's still very rough, but that is how the joke got made there. So that is how the little mini story got put into a big story. But I think it's hard for me to analyze on the spot without reading it, because a lot of the times when I'm helping other people with jokes, I need to be able to, like, read what they're...
Right.
And I need to see the, like, mechanics of, like...
Okay. Well, I think would it be a good exercise for me if you could take these I will send you the written thing of these two things that I wrote, and just see if you could give me an example and frame them into a joke, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because there's something funny in this that I went through the whole day, and I was like, you're fine. And we rode the coasters and was like, wow. and then it was like, does it still hurt? Yeah, maybe we'll go get it x-rayed. And it was broken. Like, I don't know, but maybe that's not even funny there. I don't know if it's even funny. I don't know. Now that I'm telling the story, is it even worth it?
I'll think about it.
All right, think about it. I think a lot of times I don't know if the stories that I pick are as funny as they could be.
The thing is, you don't need to pick a funny story to make jokes.
I know.
About.
See, your story about your name change, that's not funny. That's just like that happened and you made it into something funny.
That's why we're talking about these prompts, because they're not exactly funny stories. They're things. So let's move on to our next. Okay, so
the next exercise. I really like this because I think I'm going to learn that, because if I'm nothing, I'm a good student. Like, I will follow the directions and we'll figure this out. Like, I am probably going to be your most determined student you're going to find. So let's figure out how to teach me.
Okay.
Okay, because I am primed for learning. LFG, as we like to say.
So we'll talk about embarrassing stories, and then, they're not going to be like, now they might be funny, but like the key, I don't know, if I think about a lot of my comedy, it's not like the funniest things that have happened to me. It's like my name change. It's funny. Like a normal thing that I noticed that I could look back on. I'm like, well, that's a joke now. One of our favorite, it's like, Mike Birbiglia has a joke in one of his specials where he's like he's like going to see a doctor or something. And the doctor's like, oh, what do you do? And he's like, I'm a comedian. He's like, well, tell me a joke. Or he said something like, you're not very funny. He's like, well, you don't get it. Like, you're the joke later. Like, this moment is the joke later. Actually. It's not my joke, Mike Birbiglia. But like, that's the thing.
That was a good one, though. I remember that. that.
I feel like that's the thing that good comedians do, is like they take very like mundane or like sad or even like depressing or like weird things, and then they make it funny later. Yeah, it's not necessarily like starting with like, oh, this really funny thing. It's almost like kicking yourself in the butt when you think of like, what's the funniest thing that's happened to me, and let me explain. It's like, let me take an average, like think of Seinfeld. He takes like average things and he makes them funny. It funny. Okay, this is good. Because my two things are not hilarious, but they're just funny things they're embarrassing things. You said think of two embarrassing moments, which was tough for me, but I got a couple. All right, let's start. What is and set the scene. You don't have to whip through it. Now is not the time to say one sentence. Now we can set the stage. We're brainstorming. So tell me, give me the story.
Okay. All right, so... And it's not it's not that funny. But when you were younger, when you guys, I don't even think you were born yet, because we were still in Secaucus, so it was pretty early on. And I used to drive to this gym where I would run on the treadmill. I was a big treadmill runner at the time. So I would drive to this gym to run on the treadmill. So it was my time to myself, get away from the kids, do my, and it usually was in the evening. I would go and I would run on the treadmill. And it was in the days where I'm younger, so I'm a little more self-conscious, let's say. Because now... do I give a shit if what I look like running on a treadmill? If anything were to happen to me at a gym, if someone looked at me funny, talked to me funny, I'd be like, whatever. But then I was in my, late 20s, early 30s, more self-conscious maybe. Hop on the treadmill, and you had to book time on the treadmill. Like, you had a certain slot of time. There's a lot of people there. So you run, you had to book, you had to sign up for the treadmill. Yeah, so I signed up for the treadmill. So I had my half-hour slot. I'm trucking along, and some dude comes up, and he's like, it's his time. And he's claiming it's his time, and I'm still on the treadmill. And so the whole thing got me flustered, because I'm like, oh my God, always I think I'm in the wrong. So I'm like, oh my God, sorry. And as I look to turn, I misstep, and I went fucking flying off the treadmill. When I say I went shooting off the back of this treadmill, like, this is the funny story in a way. Whoop! And I was on the floor, and like, and I just like, holy shit. Like, I bounced up, because I was like, this did not just happen, because I was in my young 30s, young man, whatever. I jump up, I get back on the treadmill, and I go, I have 5 more minutes. That's what I say to him. Get on the treadmill, suddenly realize blood is dripping from my chin. I'm like trying to regroup, and I'm almost like lightheaded, and I'm running, and I'm like, bleeding. Okay, so I end my time and I go into the bathroom. I had no idea, but I had a gash. I had to go to the hospital and get stitches. I literally had gashed my chin open from this. And it was, to me, that was like such an impressionable, embarrassing moment because there was people around. I think if the same thing happened to me today, first of all, they'd be like, oh, the old lady, let's help her up. So there would be that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I probably wouldn't be as embarrassed. I'd be like, I'm so stupid. I would just get up and carry on, but because I think so much of what we experience that is embarrassing is related to a point we are in our life where we will allow something to make us feel that. And I really don't have. So that's one. And I can give you a second one, or you can go next. I'll give you my 2 embarrassing stories.
So like, I think it's interesting that you said the time period thing. So this is what so I
was in easily like 30, because Jonathan and Tommy were both born, I do believe. So it had to be like I was 32.
Why were you so self-conscious then?
I guess, well, I was a late bloomer, like I was sheltered. So I didn't really come to life. Like I know you at 32, you're going to be like as if you're 50, kind of just because you're so much more mature. I was very immature. I don't even know how I was a mom with this baby at the age of 28 in the first place. Because I was more immature and I was more self-conscious and I was just kind of coming into my own. And so I was at a stage, and I do think some 20, 30-year-olds are still very self-conscious that's why they're worried about camera angles and making their Instagrams good. And I'm like, don't worry. You look great, but so I do think that's still an impressionable age.
I'm just like surprised because I feel like I don't know, you self-conscious running on a treadmill. You see, also if I see pictures from you from this era, you're like fit as a fiddle, like you are like tight and toned, and like the fact that you're like self-conscious and embarrassed about running on the treadmill is literally insane to me.
We got to pull up a photo for this. Steven, I'm going to supply the receipts. But yeah, anyway.
Was it like post giving birth? Like, do you think that played into it?
No. It had nothing to do with my physicality. Okay. It had everything to do with my mental state. Nothing to do with physical. Because I was fit. I was like jogging my ass off on the treadmill at like probably 8.0 or something. I was going fast, and I shot off so fast. I was a fast little bugger at the time.
With your little steps.
It wasn't about what I felt like physically. It was definitely more like embarrassing emotionally. Like, oh my God,
But you like took someone's time.
First I took some time, then I went flying off and I looked like a fool laying there with my Walkman.
I like also, the part of that story that you were bleeding, but you still were like, I have 5 minutes left, so I'm going to make the most of my treadmill time and I'm still going to run even though I'm bleeding.
Oh yeah. And I didn't even realize actually at first, but then I was like, let me just keep going a little bit. And then suddenly I realized, oh no, I shouldn't keep going. Cause I think someone said to me, you're bleeding. Like, I think it was one of those moments. It was like, it's hard cause I probably blacked out from embarrassment.
Oh yeah.
And I was definitely lightheaded. I don't know how I got up and ran cause I was I don't know, lightheaded from the experience.
Wow. Yep. That's a good one.
Did you know that story or no? Did you know I fell? I think you knew I fell off a treadmill, right?
I knew you fell off a treadmill. I didn't realize that was the thing. I think also the most shocking thing about the story is that you had to book treadmill time. Like, that is just wild to me. Because now it's like treadmills are like the most open thing at the gym. Like no one, people are on the treadmill, but it's like the warm up that people go on for like 10 minutes. So so many, reference points in there that are crazy about
of the time of the era.
Walkman, renting a treadmill.
Yes, booking time on the treadmill. My God, see, that I wouldn't think is even part of a joke, but it probably is. Like, that whole thing could be part of the bit.
That's so funny.
Right?
Yeah,
that's funny. All right, what's your embarrassing moment?
One of my so I think as soon as you said the time period of which, like the time period that you're saying that was like your impressionable age or whatever, all of my embarrassing stories that I could like think of predominantly are like middle school.
Oh, I thought you were going to say high school. Okay, middle school.
No, like
wow.
Like,
wow.
so interesting that you said that, because I'm like, oh, it's probably when I felt like the most self-conscious of
Right.
like
Oh my
going through
God.
puberty and like that whole thing. So my first story is that when seventh grade Halloween, I remember Kristen and I dressed up as like what not to wear. Like it wasn't a very creative costume, but it was like we
Okay.
wore like what not to wear. It was like kind of stupid. But I remember I wore this like red shirt. I wore this like crazy weird, this outfit didn't match. I had like a feather boa. And I remember getting on the bus to go to school and I wasn't wearing a bra. And I had like forgot. And I
You're
realized,
so young. Did you
I
even wear
know.
a bra then?
Well, yes, I had those like limited to training bras that were like literally like bralettes that were just like there to like cover the nips essentially.
Okay. Uh-huh.
But I just remember because I had like started wearing bras, and then I forgot to like put one on that day. And I remember it on the bus right there, and I was just absolutely mortified like the whole day. I'm like, I can't
my
believe I'm not wearing a
God.
bra. And then I have to go through this like whole day that I'm not wearing a bra. And I was like, thank God I have a feather boa because I could just like drape it in front. And I did that like all day. I like did not take that boa off. But I was,
But you see how it's different times? Because right now, I think, oh, why didn't you call me? I would have brought your bra to school. Well, I probably was at work, but somebody would have brought your bra to school.
I don't know. I was just like, I can't. I think you were probably at work and I wasn't going to like call you to have Sita drive a bra down to school. And then people be like, oh, what
But
your
also,
mom
you
drop
didn't have a
off?
cell. Yeah, and you didn't have a cell phone. So that
I
was
did
the
have
other
a cell
thing.
phone, I think.
Oh, did you in middle school? I was going to say maybe that was also
I had
part
like a
of it.
flip
you could-
phone.
Oh,
And
isn't
so
life funny?
I just remember being like so uncomfortable
Oh
that I
my
like wasn't wearing a
God.
bra. And now I don't go out without a bra all the time. Not like all the time, but like I don't know. It's like not a big deal. But I just remember
Right.
being like in seventh grade, I'm like, oh my God, everyone's gonna be looking at like my little freaking boobs that aren't even boobs.
That's so funny. All right. That's
And I just feel like all seventh grade maybe was like peak puberty for me of like being embarrassed at just existing.
yeah. See this one. I already can see you working this into a joke because I can picture your humor, how it's going to deliver it. So
Yeah.
I think maybe it's just because you're a natural comedian. We should talk about Saturday Night Live at some point, but because did you watch it last night? Anyway,
I did.
yeah, it was
All
just
right.
like now that we're doing this, I'm very aware of when they do the jokes and when they do the weekend updates, and I'm like so tuned into like the crafting of the jokes now. I'm very, when you start to, just like if you buy a blue car, you see a lot of blue cars, or if you buy a
Yeah.
certain kind of car, it's like that. I'm very tuned in now to comedians and how they craft the craft of the comedian.
The Croft. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's my seventh grade. I can do another one. I can do my second one because it's also seventh grade. So it's like a very
Okay.
similar time period.
Okay. Seventh grade was a
I know,
rough
big
year
year
for
for you. Well, I think
Rough-
seventh grade is
rough
when
year.
you turn 13. So it's like very on brand for being embarrassed.
I guess. When did you go on the trip, that overseas trip? Was that seventh grade summer?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
I probably have some embarrassing memories from that trip that I've just absolutely blacked out.
Okay.
I think a
well,
lot of them I've blacked out, but
Thank God for our capacity to black out. I do the same. I had trouble thinking of embarrassing things because I'm like, I am sure I
know.
put them so far. I buried them so deep that I
So
don't even
deep.
know what they are.
you know what's going to happen tonight? I'm going to like go to bed and all of them are going to like come out in my dreams. They're going to like
gosh.
unearth the subconscious embarrassing moments that I've hid away. They're going to like come out and be like,
That's it.
ha
I'm
you're
back.
trying to sleep? Not on my watch.
Oh my gosh. What's your other one?
My second one is like in seventh grade, we were going on a Spanish field trip and we were going to like this like Mexican restaurant of sorts. And it was like mostly everyone in our grade who had like elected to do Spanish. And at the trip we had like a traditional Mexican meal. We're like all eating, all of us are there. And then they do like the entertainment, which is like everyone gets up and salsa dancing. Like they ask for volunteers to like be taught how to salsa dance in front of everybody else. And they needed like a volunteer. So I guess I volunteered, which feels very off brand for seventh grade me that I like volunteered. But I was like,
Yes.
oh, this sounds fun. Like I don't really get attention from boys, so might as well get forced to have attention from boys by getting paired up with someone to salsa dance. Like maybe that was my thought process. So I volunteer to salsa or whatever, and I get paired up with somebody, and we start dancing, and like 10 seconds in, they go, no, I don't want to do this. And they just walk off. in front of like the whole grade. And I was like, oh, so I was just standing alone in front of like my entire, I don't want to, I'm not, who. I will tell you off camera. I'm not saying on camera.
Okay, not that can't wait to find out. Not that that person's listening, but why not?
Not that the person's listening. I don't want to give them the universe the satisfaction that I still have that memory in my brain. You know, like that's
good point.
I don't want to give this memory any more thought because it was very embarrassing to me.
Oh my God.
And so, yeah, just like in front of everybody. And they were like trying to find someone else to dance with me and like nobody volunteered. So then I just had to like go back to my seat, even though I I tried to be brave and it failed. I tried funny. And it backfired.
So sorry. So sorry. But this is funny that you don't want to, I like that you don't want to give the universe back this like attention to the memory.
No.
Because there was a mom that I love following on TikTok, and her name is Halo Mostly, I think is her name. Anyway, she was talking about how she used to be babysitting for this family, and she was, as the babysitter, the kid took their first steps, and she was like, oh my God, no, sit down. Like she didn't want to be the one that got to see the baby's first steps. So when she called her mom and said, oh my God, the baby just took the first steps, her mom said, don't tell the mom. And she goes, okay, so I'm not going to tell the mom that the baby took the first steps. Anyway, cut to now, however many years later, she's probably like younger than me. She's probably in her 50s. She's like, I'm talking to one of my best friends from childhood who babysat for the same family. She never told the mom, mind you. So the other friend goes, oh, I remember that family. And they were just dishing about the past. And she was like, yeah, whenever she would call me, she'd always be so much happier when she didn't have to have you as the backup babysitter. Like, so she found out that she was the second fiddle babysitter. And she goes, so now I'm going to let you know, Mrs. So-and-so. She told the person in the TikTok, like she outed the family. She goes, I just want you to know your baby took the first steps with me. Meanwhile, this baby's probably like 25 years old. It was just a very funny thing. But it's like, again, you're protecting the karma of the universe. And this person was just like, oh, no, she was not having it. She was going to make sure that this woman got her payback. But I don't know. That's why people on the internet do crazy things. And they open up cans of worms that don't need to be opened.
Exactly. Also, I was listening to a podcast last week where they were like naming a bunch of people from high school and then they just bleeped it all out. So like half the podcast was just bleeps. And I was like, this isn't really like fun as a viewer to be like bleep, bleep, bleep. So anyway. All right. What's your last story?
All right. My second embarrassing story involves a former boss. And if my friend Anna is listening, you're going to get a kick out of this because you're going to probably remember this story. So I had a former boss who was in advertising, and he was an older gentleman. And this is so brief, but so stays with me forever. Okay, so setting the scene. We're in his office. He's talking to me about some production that we're going to be working on. And I'm the producer. I'm the key producer there. I'm still youngish. I'm in my probably later 30s at this point, maybe. I've had a few kids. And I am talking to him pretty close up. So we're face to face, very close. And you know when you see something on someone's face and you instinctively like, oh, like they have a crumb, or you want to say, oh, you have something on your face or whatever. I go, oh, you have a hair. And I go like this because he's got like a hair on his nose. And I'm like, it was attached. I don't know what, I will never forget that moment because I was like, and I just went, oh, and he goes, what, it's attached? And I go, yeah.
Why'd you touch his face? Like that to me is like the craziest part of the story. Like I wouldn't even like, the only person's face I feel comfortable touching is like Steven or yours to be like, you have something on your face. And even then I'm like, you have something on your face. It's over in this region. I'm never like going with my own arms.
I don't know. It was so weird. It was like, just because it was like, I don't know. Oh, you have something on your face. Like I just thought a hair, like he's not gonna be able to see it. I don't know why. I am so mortified. I'm embarrassed like it just happened yesterday. I don't want to do a joke about that one because I don't want to give that one life.
It's okay. You don't have to do a joke about any of them if you don't like them.
I won't.
It's like
but I will tell you, let me tell you Anna's funny story that's attached to it. So Anna and I used to edit together in this edit room, and she had one of those big what are they? The hobo style purses? What are they called when it's like a big bag, like a big open bag? I don't know. Whatever. I got either a hobo bag or it's like a tote bag thing. That was her purse, and she had it next to her. So he is ready to leave the edit session, and he gathers up his garbage because we had eaten lunch, and he goes over by her and he puts his garbage into her purse because he thought her purse was the trash can. And she went, "Oh, it's my purse." She just goes like, she was so timid. She didn't want to say to him, like, "You're throwing your trash in my purse."
If that was me, I'd be like, okay, I'll just take the trash and I'll go throw it out later. Like, I would probably just not say anything.
Not even say anything?
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, yeah, that's the garbage.
Oh my God. We have, Anna and I have many, many stories about the edit sessions together when we were young chickens and we had these clients in our room. The stories are endless. I probably could write a book about those. Funny. I'm sure. Funny. Yeah, anyway.
Well, this was good.
See. This was fun. I don't know. I think I need more help, though. I do think I need more help. I think I'm missing the mark. And I'm like, I want to be better at this. So we have to figure out how. I just want it to be more entertaining. Like, I want to be able to turn my little things into little jokes.
Little jokey jokes.
Yeah. So maybe you can help me.
Yeah.
How is your set going for your next performance? Are you adding some new things?
I am. Some of that name stuff will be in it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm working on some new things, but I'm also just practicing some old things because they're easy. Not easy, but like it's locked in, and it's good to practice performing things that are already kind of like locked in the brain. So
good.
The next show is March 1st. Got the lineup announced. Everything's really exciting. If you're in LA,
baby.
Come out to the show. Oh, yeah. It's going to be so fun. It's a really good lineup, so I'm excited.
That's great. Who's going to host?
Gloria, my host.
Excellent. I love
She's
it.
been hosting, and it's great. But yeah.
Good. All right. Well, good. Go see Julie's show. That's going to be fun.
Laughaholics, March 1st.
I know. And I'm going to work on this more. I want to try and be better.
Okay.
See if I can improve my skills. And
there's
think
like
about
no
things.
pressure. You don't have to write something every week. You could also just like take a week and just listen to what I bring. Like you don't have to force yourself. Sometimes it's helpful to just take it in and absorb.
It was fun to think about embarrassing moments though, because I realized how much I've realized how much I've suppressed. I've suppressed a lot of them. That's why it was a struggle
it's a tough
think of
find.
Them. Yeah, it was tough. I must say.
Well, I'll think of a good one for next week. I think I might want to do something around sports because I'm trying to work on a sports bit, and I need to like go deep into like my past of playing sports. So maybe next week will be like sport memories of like you being a sport mom and I'll being sport daughter. So
okay, I like that. That's a good strategy. That's a good point. This week I'm speaking at this thing in Darien, Connecticut at a luncheon for the women conference, and I want to try and be funny. So I was thinking, it's related. I wasn't going off topic.
I was like, what are we doing?
No, I want to think about recording, like doing a voice note and recording my presentation to see, because I don't really know, I don't have any of it recorded. And I'm like, sometimes I'm funny and people laugh. I'm like, what have I said that made them laugh? And I can't remember.
You should start doing that because that's what I do at open mics, especially if I'm trying new ideas out.
Yeah. Because I think it's boring to just get up and go blah, 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 blah. So now I try and be a little amusing, now that I'm, practicing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try. And I also found out some people of my followers are going to be there. So I'm like, oh God, the pressure of like, now I'm going to be funny and have my followers there from,
we'll see. Good.
It'll be good. But I'm going to try and think of something. I want to try and write some things in purposely because people who do those types of presentations normally, they have jokes written in because they want to keep their audience like amused and laughing. So I want to try and work in some funny things and try and really pay attention to it. So I'm combining, like my two worlds are colliding,
Perfect. Yeah.
All right. So I'm kind of working on my stage presence.
We love it.
So I'm prepared for my first stand-up bit when the day comes.
Amazing.
All right. Yours truly.
Helen and Juli.
All right. This was a fun exercise. I think that we're making progress. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for working through it. You know where to find us on all the socials and etc. And
if you want to leave a review or follow us at yourstruly.thepodcast, that'd be really helpful.
You know what? We should have a place where people could submit their embarrassing moments. Like what are other people, like what do other people go through? Like what's an embarrassing moment that sticks with them and why? I want to dig into this a little deeper. Like why are certain periods of our life more embarrassing for different reasons. Like,
Yeah.
it's because I think I have embarrassing moments now. It's just that I don't hold on to them.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
We'll see.
All right.
Alrighty.
See you next week. All right. Cheerio.